What's happening, people? Back with another reaction, back with some more Madonna, and we're returning to Bedtime Stories 1994. And the next track is Love Tried to Welcome Me, which is an interesting title for a couple reasons. One, there's a personification of love as a conscious, deliberative entity that might carry favor or attempt to facilitate a particular result for a specific person. Though it's interesting because without digressing into Yoda philosophy in terms of there is no try, only do or do not, it suggests perhaps a inability to stay in love or to inhabit that place more permanently. If love welcomed the narrator, then it would be a suggestion that it was a opening phase of a dynamic or status that continues right up into the present. But to say love tried to welcome me would seem to suggest that there was an attempt, there was a process initiated, but maybe not completed, or maybe the entire journey to love per se was not finished. So yes, in that regard, I feel like implicitly or in the subtext of the phrase, there's maybe a melancholy or a failure to reach that desired destination. So I'll see what I can catch on a first listen. This is Madonna, and the track is Love Tried to Welcome Me from her 1994 album Bedtime Stories.
It's always winter, and my heart has always been a lonely hunter, but still love tried to welcome me, but my soul drew back. I was colored with dust and sin. Love tried to take me in. Love tried to break me. I must confess, instead of spring, it's always winter, and my heart has always
A long fade. I was in two minds as it was going on. I feel like that was a longer tune, maybe like over, yeah, about 5.5 minutes, or at least more than 5 minutes. And I was in two minds in the last minute or so because I was trying to keep everything, all the thoughts I had over the course of the tune in mind, but I really didn't want it to end either. That was a great track, I think, very well written, very beautiful, melancholic, sonically lush, and also fitting to the sentiment of the tune as I understood it. So yeah, that's a top track. And again, this is not something that surprises me by this point, and to be fair, even at the start of the Madonna deep dive, I had heard a couple things years later than the early 80s, like synth pop dancey kind of stuff, which is the Madonna I remember from my youth. So I was well aware, even before this deep dive started, that she's got some sonic diversity and she made tunes that are, more dense emotionally and sonically than that, memorable mid-80s material. But I've understood that in substance more and more as we've gone through forward in time in this deep dive. And this is another one that just hits me as, this is a Madonna that maybe people who are familiar with her public image or a handful of her hit tunes might be surprised to hear in terms of the emotional depth and the lyrical cleverness of expressing a sentiment. So, yeah, the meaning that I took away is that, and very, what's the right word, insightfully located in different parts of her body, both external and internal, the idea of, here are her arms, but they've never known tenderness, and here are her lips, which make you think of kissing, but they speak only of sorrow, and her heart is seemingly seeking, it's hunting love, but she's no stranger to loneliness, and, sort of going through different parts of her body, her eyes and what they see. So in each case, it's something that in other love songs might speak to a connection, a warm, enveloping feeling, a devoted love. But here, all her sights and senses, or rather all her senses and bodily attributes are showing that she's someone who her soul pulled back from love. In fact, the first time I heard that line, I thought she was saying that it was another person, a guy whose soul pulled away from her, and that's why, despite love trying to welcome her and take her in, she didn't actually experience or get to know that love. But then when I heard it as the song went along, it was like her soul, like she's gun shy, so to speak, where, she has this heart that is seeking love, but she's not quite comfortable with it, and every time it's maybe there trying to draw her in and welcome her in, she pulls away sort of instinctively and, ends up continuing in this lonely life because she's just not sure whether that is something that she can actually have or experience, or she's worried maybe about what can happen if it doesn't work out. So, yes, a sad and painful tune. I love the sonics. Like, number one, We have a mixture of styles, which I would say is sort of 90s R&B, like a lot of material on this album and even the previous one, but it's mixed with a bit of this old time movie feel, a bit of this, 1950s romance film during a scene where there's some heartbreak, mixed with a bit of light orchestral sounds, a smaller arrangement, but I think there was an oboe in there, there's some strings. There was very cleverly sort of this, stardust type of sound as she was talking about her soul being what, like sprinkled in dust and sin or something like that. And maybe that's part of it, maybe the idea that she feels that her soul is tainted, so she can't fully give herself over to love because her soul just isn't in the right condition to be warm and embracing and get past some of the psycho-emotional baggage she's carrying. But yeah, sonically it really was a lush arrangement and multifaceted sonic atmosphere, and it also seemed to fit the lyrics quite well. I enjoyed her vocals. There was pain in her vocals, the way she delivered some of these lines, again, about the different senses and bodily features not fulfilling what could be their love or romantic destiny, and thus her destiny being more a lonely road where she, again, maybe every time there's an opportunity, she recedes, she pulls back from that. So yeah, just a really well arranged, well written, and vocally well executed track that I think is a top tune. So yes, a sad tune, but one that leaves you with a sense of this narrator knows who she is, and even if she may be denying herself the possibility of feeling a connection, of feeling the warmth of love, she's not doing so unwittingly or without a sense of identity. So yeah, there's a really interesting psycho-emotional state indicated by the lyrics and the narrator. So yeah, I really enjoyed that one. Let me know what you think about it, and Luca and I will see you next time. Peace.